Well folks, welcome to the video where we're going to put back together the Abu Cardinal 1044. Inside your case here, which is the first step, you have a plate and two screws, one there and one there. So you put both screws in, but the plate rotates because it catches on a rim on the main cog. So you take the cog here, and this piece is loose. So insert that onto there and push this piece in like so. That hole goes over the peg just there. And push that out of the way. So that's you kind of in. And then when it's fully home, you can then push that plate along there and tighten the screw down. Okay, so once you got that in, you have a look at this here. This connects, that end piece there, that connects with the lever just here. That just slides in like so. You can see how it clicks. That stops the lever from engaging the ratchet. So we have a slotted washer, goes on top of that. Now that doesn't connect with anything, it doesn't move, so you don't particularly need to grease that. There's a fibre washer goes over that, and I think originally that was actually glued on, although it isn't at the moment. We then have a big cog, and inside there's a steel bush, so you must make sure you got that, and that bit does need oiling. So the winding spindle then goes into there. So if you look at the underside of that, there's a slot in it. So the slot goes over that cam there, and then the feeder plate goes over the front. Pushes in like so, and at that point it should hold the reel relatively steady. The other part goes in there, and it gets held over the cog there by the clip washer that we took out when we first took the reel apart, if you remember. So I'm just lifting the feeder plate out for a short while, and then we put the retaining clip in, and then we're going to screw the central pillar in there into the frame. You also need to put the lug on the retaining clip upwards so it jams it in place. Okay, so once that's screwed down, and we'll then put the feeder plate back on. And the next step is to put the three remaining parts inside, which is basically the clips. So one goes there, one goes there, and one goes there. So essentially that's a bit of a fingers and thumbs exercise, so I'm not going to show you that. So there we are, all finished, all three clips in place. So now that everything's in there, we can put this back. And remember, the screw goes in from the other side. Okay, so inside the handle shaft there, you can see the bronze bush on the outside there, and you can see the other end of the cog that we put in earlier before the case went on. We have a shaped washer here, so you see the two notches there. The shape sits over the two notches, and then we have a brass bush. Now that stops the handle wandering about. Make sure that is well down. The next piece to go on is the handle, and the two notches on the handle go in the recesses. You then have a flatted washer which goes over the shaft. You need to spin that around until it hits the flats, and then there's a spring which gives you drag on the reel, and another flatted washer which helps to clamp the spring, and then you have the knurled control which you need to wind right down. Okay, so after you've put the drag control on, essentially you put this on. This is a left hand threaded nut, and you tighten that down anti-clockwise, a Z-shaped washer which goes with the rounded pieces upwards, and then there's a cover which goes over it, and that's you with your reel assembled more or less. Once all that is on, you're then in a position to put back the spool. This particular part of the reel, you can dismantle this if you need to. It very rarely goes wrong. You need to undo that clip there and take all the parts off. You may need to clean it at some point, but generally speaking they are pretty good, to be honest. So I haven't covered that in this video. This is left hand threaded, and then your top goes on like that, and that's your reel side. So just a few points. Okay, this piece here, just check that it operates. If it operates, then you're fine. And the other thing is, don't tend to oil the sliding parts and put grease on the cogs. Don't over grease the reel inside, because fishing reels need to run light and fast. Okay folks, that's our reassembly of the Garcia 1044. Thanks so much for watching.